Well, polls will soon open in India to begin a 7-phase general election with almost 1 billion people eligible to vote. National elections are a major undertaking in the world's most populous country. Election officials have been dispatched right across India to set up polling stations and equipment. Security has also been beefed up ahead of the voting. Joining us now is Neilesh Bose. He is a professor of South Asian history at the University of Victoria. So, Mr. Bose, thank you for joining us. Polls show Narendra Modi is expected to win. How do you think that he has maintained his support?
Thank you for having me. I think he has maintained support through a variety of means. The projection of a very strong face of India internationally, and the idea that India is not afraid of any other power in the world, as well as delivering on various projects, digital infrastructure, various social welfare programs, and the cutting down of corruption are the claims that the BJP administration makes and are the foundations for his support.
The opposition leader is currently in jail. How is this affecting the election process?
I think there is extraordinary amounts of tension and contestation in India. There is increasing sentiment around India's security apparatus and feelings of it being an authoritarian system that conducts all sorts of non-democratic practices against its opponents.
What do you predict a third Modi term would look like?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. This is what everybody is concerned about. I'd say that Modi likely will intensify the Make in India policy and continue to focus on developing India, as well as developing the security apparatus of India, and possibly increasing India's role in the geopolitical contest within the Indo-Pacific and the Indian Ocean region as well.
It is an understatement to say that Canada-India relations have been in a tense spot. Of course, since the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Canadian Sikh leader in BC, which our Prime Minister accused India of being involved with. How could the results of Friday's election impact those relations, if at all? And what is this going to look like if Modi is once again in power?
Yes, I'd say it has the potential to make further inroads into this relationship that has only become more and more tense, to make it a bit more tense, in the sense that the BJP-led alliance does not accept any of the claims made by Canada or the United States, and they reject all of the allegations that have been made. They also claim that Canada has been harboring so-called terrorists, and that they have not held them to account. And if the BJP-led alliance wins, it's likely that this will only deepen the gulf between India and Canada on those fronts.
You know, I mentioned security in the intro, coming to chat with you here. There has been caution from the Canadian government about protests and a threat of terrorist attacks in India, with warning to exercise a high degree of caution when traveling there around the election. How concerned should Canadians be about chaos erupting?
I would say the concern should be maintained, though there is a tendency whenever these events occur and there is a heightened attention to them, there is a bit of an exaggeration and a sensationalism around the fears of violence and chaos. But I would say that the concern and the caution should be maintained. There is extreme contestation at every level in India, and it is not clear how different kinds of conflicts may play out. There have been elections earlier in South Asia, in Bangladesh and Pakistan earlier this year, and then later to be held in Sri Lanka. I would say that in each case, there is legitimate concern for security and safety.
As we zoom out and look at the global picture here, India represents more than 10% of the world's population, the largest electorate anywhere. How significant is Friday's election on a global stage?
I would say that it's very significant. It's the largest election in the history of elections themselves in terms of the numbers, the largest that India has ever held. Over 950 people are registered to vote. And the future of the region of South Asia, of the Indo-Pacific and the Indo-Indian Ocean region, to some degree, will follow what will happen in India, and the vast Indian diaspora, including very large population of Indo-Canadian people, will be following this election and will be affected by the outcome.
Let me just ask you one more question before we go here. Over 1 billion people, a lot of people. How do election officials in India make the population confident that that election result is the right one, that there was no interference in it?
Yes, I mean, it is a vast operation, the likes of which probably no other nation state in the world has attended to, in the sense that the election operations reach into every different corner of India, with millions of people who are working on behalf of the election to make sure that people have access to the vote and that they have access to information. And I would say that one of India's vast strengths in terms of its democracy is the ability to tap into its diverse populations to make the election happen. And it is through the personal and the interpersonal relationships that the Indian system has with all of its people that assure the people that the result is the correct one.
Neilesh, appreciate your time tonight. We'll call on you again, of course, for your expertise in the days ahead. That is Neilesh Bose, a professor of South Asian history at the University of Victoria.